You're laughing.
What
he's saying is important.
Oh, no, it is the reason.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And I think the mayor doesn't need it.
Yeah, look at him throwing me under the bus.
I wanted to introduce myself to Marcia Billiante. I work at this museum. I've lived here all my life, and this is what we're doing here.
I'm gonna follow up with you on the signs and stuff.
Yes.
See the-
Okay.
Well,
We're going to do it.
sculpture.
Did Wayne run off? You knew we were going to have another meeting?
You know, because we're doing these like work sessions before the council meeting, these 5:30 meetings may not end up being necessary because you guys are gonna know everything in advance
Sure,
anyway.
that's fine. That's
So-
Then I think we should start at, why don't we start at 5? That way the work session has to end at 6 and we just go right into council meeting.
that one.
I mean, do you like that
Yeah,
idea?
the only thing I have concern with is I know that Mr. House stated that he was too keen on this one. But, you know, I'm willing to work with
Which is
whoever.
odd because in this first email, he said he's fine with 4:00 meetings, he's concerned about everybody else.
Well, I may have said that too, but regardless,
Yeah,
I'm willing to work with anybody, you know.
Well, we
If you guys want to have them on Saturday morning, I'm
We
okay with that too.
we could start
No.
these work sessions at 4:30 and then go into council at 6 instead.
Yeah, but what happens if the agenda doesn't, the work session doesn't last an hour?
Then
Or an hour and a half?
we'll change it on a case-by-case basis. If it's longer, we'll start at 4 or
Yeah, but how are we
4:30.
going to let the public know that?
We put it up on the website. Is it by ordinance the time?
Well,
Work
Yes.
sessions, or you just have to post it?
We have to change.
do we, for the work
Post it
session?
the same way with a regular agenda. We just have to-
What about the conference sessions that we have had at 5:30? Those are included
It's
in the
not the right
announcements and
place.
everything?
Yeah, that's included in the agenda.
For it to be wrapped. and
But
shown
these,
in
the one that we
flats.
start at 4 today, is not required to start at 4.
No, you set that
We
time.
can set that
But it
time.
was, as long as you
That's what
put
I'm
it in the
saying. Why
agenda.
not start that at 5?
Well, we gave ourselves an hour and a half today, so you want to cut it down to an hour?
Yeah, because I don't, I mean, because is the work session,
As long as it works for everybody
I
else.
mean, is the work session always going to be this long?
Yeah.
Probably for the first few months.
If we don't have any other strategic planning sessions, those work sessions prior to the meetings, sometimes, I mean, maybe can we change it every other time? I mean,
We can
I know,
keep
if
it
there's
at,
a small work session, then
Then
we start at
5.
5. But if it is not, we start at 4.
Well, typically in the past, we've had a 5:30 conference session. I guess that's where I'm kind of lost now.
Right.
Are we saying that we're not going to have that? And we could just have a meeting, a work session that starts at 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever, and then we'll go right into gaveling at 6. And with maybe a break if we get done beforehand or unless we go all the way to the gavel. I
Well,
mean,
that way it would make, I mean, the work session would have to be done in an hour.
I guess my only concern is, you know, typically, we discuss the agenda, tonight's agenda at that meeting.
Right.
But, you know, if that can be done beforehand, that's okay with me.
I guess we can
Whatever
just
you
assess
guys
as we
I-
go.
I'm easy like Sunday morning, it's whatever you guys want to do.
Maybe,
It's a good title for a song. Easy like Sunday morning.
So it's
we can
whatever.
try these work sessions and then a pre-meeting, a meeting, and then if we get so efficient, we can cut one of them out and cut one of them out. Right?
Are we going to have a work session every meeting?
Probably for the first bit while there's so much coming up.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I value this time with you guys. Maybe you guys don't value this time with me.
You keep up
I
what you
enjoy
did
this. I
tonight.
need this.
He
You know.
doesn't have many friends.
You guys are my friends.
Friends?
Friends, yeah.
Are we gonna do the
Unless you
5:30
vote
one?
against me.
That's what we were just, I guess, talking about. I guess it's up to the mayor.
Where's council?
What is the, what is
I think he
the?
ran out knowing that we were going to have it. I don't know.
Is that a joke?
When he first got to council and
Yeah,
then
like I'm missing
after that, he was concerned about, you know, things back there because minutes weren't being taken out. Whether it was an
How are
open
you?
meeting. And we finally got him convinced to come
Oh,
back
thank
in.
you.
then we proposed this, well, I proposed this ordinance that passed, that we would have our conference session meetings that typically begin at 5:30 here in council chambers. But after the discussion we just had, I guess it's kind of redundant to have a work session and then go into our conference session and then gavel in at 6 o'clock. Is it really necessary? Maybe our work session could just include a discussion about the agenda.
Okay.
That's up for the mayor and you to decide.
I missed what you said, I'm sorry.
We were kind of discussing the whole 5:30 conference session that we've had in the past. We passed an ordinance that meeting would be held here. However, since we're having these work sessions on the same day at 4 o'clock, and this one started at 4 o'clock, do we really need to have a conference session to discuss tonight's agenda when we could just include that into the work session
As the
agenda at
last
4
agenda
or
item.
4:30 or 5, whenever we want to hold it? It's up to you. It's up to you guys. I mean,
That's a really good idea.
It is a good idea.
yes, as long as we can fit it in the time frame, I mean,
Then I suggest we start at 4:30.
that's
That
fine.
gives us,
We can try that 4:30. Because, you know,
Let me know.
the conference session may not have as many items on the agenda,
At all, yeah, I agree.
so.
I think that at this moment, it's a good idea to discuss the agenda of tonight's meeting at some point by going over, like we've always done.
You want to do it now?
I mean,
We're 20
it's up to you. We've only got 20 minutes, but
I think you can get through that.
yeah, I can. But let's continue.
we don't. I mean, like I said, I've read it, I've read the packet, and I know what we're talking about. And I think we've kind of said in the past, going over the agenda is only really for people who haven't read it. So, I mean, it's,
Forget the poorly written.
it won't be.
I can't read
I
English.
didn't even see you until just now. See, who's the morning headed, right?
So we got some
Where'd you get it,
troublemakers over here.
We're waiting on you, one of the pre-meetings.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, number set.
Yeah.
Did you ladies come here to give us trouble?
Yeah, I'm nervous. I might leave right now. We did something wrong.
Did he pay for that?
You need that for.
Did he pay for that?
What is this a crime scene already?
It says mayor.
We haven't had one meeting and it's a crime scene.
Yeah.
So what you could.
Yeah. It was cheaper.
It's just gallon.
Just remember
Jerry,
that.
we're not even on the agenda, okay? We're just here to see you, your pretty faces.
Okay, because if not, whatever you want, we'll do it.
You're so easy. Don't you know the hot mic deal, don't you? Paul doesn't turn the mics off.
Oh, Paul likes to get
Yeah,
them.
he likes the hot mic.
Alright.
This fellow's got too many spaces in here. She could have put this one. I'm just kidding.
It looks nicer when it's laid up,
Oh, it looks great.
and it's easier to read.
It looks nice. Where is Wayne?
He's on the way back.
You'll be back with 106.
Oh, what did he say?
He said he didn't run out.
So we left?
No, he went out to his car.
Oh.
I said Kelly's, but that wasn't. I should probably, since we're hot, Mike, he did not go to Kelly's. They do have good food, but some music got something.
I mean, in the past, like I said, we've typically used this time to discuss the agenda. And go through pretty much item by item to see if anybody had any questions. But again, I don't really have a problem with not having it, but I think there's, if we're gonna be here at 4 or 4:30, or whatever time we decide on, we might as well go over the agenda of that evening.
Yeah, I think it's a
Just
good
to hash
idea.
out any questions or
It's like-
concerns we may have.
But in that way, it's one, if we put it at the end of the agenda, as you suggest, then it's one less set of minutes she has to do,
Okay,
which is really easier for her.
sure, absolutely, I agree.
So, like
That
that's,
sounds good to me.
That's what they discussed.
You gonna do the appointment for planning and zoning?
Who is it, Gary?
Gary.
I'll think about it. No, I got it.
And then where is the work session, you just put it in the agenda.
I mean, do you need to get there and make a statement? Oh, no. Oh, you do? Okay. I thought you did before, huh? That's all right.
Hey, Annette, here's a question that we should probably talk about. Are, for these ordinances, are there gonna be public hearings for these? Because they're not listed on the agenda.
Well, these are all first reading.
Okay, so there will be a public hearing.
Well, the next time they'll read second, final reading and public.
Okay. Okay, just to make sure.
Did we get a list of people that signed up this week?
oh, is Martin calling you?
No, I
The
don't
signal?
think you said that.
I have no idea. I feel like I defer to you guys because you're so close to me. And then I have to like rubberneck to make sure I look that way.
I knew it was in there somewhere, but I think they usually highlight or talk about exactly what's changing.
Yeah. But he's always. He's an asset. Lunch at noon, it's dinner time. And Will, each week we'll have a council person bring in food, we'll just eat while we're having a meeting.
I like it.
Pizza, hot dog, hamburger.
Sounds good to me.
Something. That's okay. That's rolling
So
off.
does everybody go plans after the meeting?
Sometimes, not everybody,
Is there
but
food there?
yes. Mayor will tell you that. He can spit it every week.
Oh, me every week, what about you?
Okay, I'm there occasionally.
That's really good. My wife eats salmon salad. You've been here 3 times. Seen you all 3. Yes, really good. He's want to cater to the,
Oh, it was good.
yeah, how'd you like that order, man? There was 3 hoagies wrapped in 5 pretzel. There was a moment.
Down through the alley.
We were
Yeah, we were
planning
just asking like, what was it?
We fed some
second
people.
meeting.
Cool, good. That was, thank you. That was, you boys did a good
I
job.
think it all went very well.
You did very well, very
They
well.
all did a
They seem.
stellar job. Oh, they did. They did. I mean, there was a lot of work involved, but it was very well received.
I'm bigger to go out and do things.
Take a small credit.
No, I mean, don't keep-
Exit it and have to.
Just the word.
They talked about it today, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let's say two.
Oh, wow.
It's not great. Things that may go.
Deputy Chief.
Then he said,
Those are six. Those are three.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Martin sitting? He's here.
He's gonna send it to me.
He used to dress them
Oh,
when
okay.
you.
I was like,
Miles on the way.
there's a lot of space left.
Yeah, I'll move the chair out. It's gonna be a lot tighter for everybody up here.
All right.
That's why we gotta get Mr. Mayor actions out of here.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, if it was just like 2 feet longer, it would be so much more, but we got this wall here.
And there.
Yeah, it's what we go.
But, that's cool.
Here.
Yeah. The PA, the music, have we had that in a little bit? No, I didn't think so. It's busted. Okay. There you go.
Oh, yes.
will now open the July 6, 2023 council meeting.
Councilmember Howe, Councilmember Hyman.
Here.
Councilmember Jackson,
Here.
Councilmember Worth,
Here.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Vice Mayor Riffle.
Here.
Mayor Malbergen.
Here.
This evening, we have our prayer and pledge by Councilmember Hyman.
Let's pray, please. God of peace, we invite you to preside over our meeting this evening. Show and lead this new council, our new city manager, our staff, and our employees, and every single one of our citizens to your light and to your ways. Let us work together to accomplish our goals and satisfy the needs of the city, its residents, and neighbors. And Lord, remind us that you are the only true way to peace and prosperity. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the minutes of the regular session of May 18th, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Approval of the minutes of the regular session of June 1, 2023.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Approval of the minutes of the special session of June 12, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Petitions, communications, and public hearings. Sean Jeju, 409 Heyman Avenue, wishes to address council concerning the Wreaths Across America mobile education exhibit on July 12th and an update on the historic cemetery.
Hello, good evening, members of council, mayor, vice mayor, city manager. I'm not sure if all of you know who I am. I'm Sean Jeju, the founder and board president of Historic Clarksburg WV Cemetery Preservation Alliance. And this year, we were successful in being able to meet one of our large goals to bring the Wreaths Across America mobile education exhibit into Clarksburg on its way across America in order to spread the mission and of Wreaths Across America and inform people better educate everybody. Because Wreaths Across America is kind of gaining a foothold in Harrison County. There are several groups that take pride and ownership of it. I myself coordinate for 5 cemeteries, as well as the State House coordinator for Wreaths Across America, who every year do a ceremony down in Charleston. And this is just something very important. And I wanted to personally invite all of you to attend. There will be a small opening ceremony at 10:30. The event kicks off at 11. It's open to the public until 5. And it's going to be over in the Board of Education parking lot to accommodate the size of the exhibit. And then I also wanted to just kind of update on some of the other projects we're involved in here in Clarksburg. The History Museum had reached out to us, and we kind of started more of a partnership to accomplish certain things with the cemeteries. And one of those was the Jackson Cemetery. And I know when we had interim manager Steve Police over there, we had asked for permission to kind of restore some of it, clean some of it. I just want to make sure with new council, new city manager, that is still okay to do. So, I mean, you can just answer that in comments or whatever. But just to give you an idea, we started cleaning the headstones at the Stonewall Jackson family cemetery. His ancestors that are in that fenced off section. And we did a little preliminary reset work on 1 or 2 of the headstones. Then we've also been upkeeping the Daniel Davison Cemetery over the years. There's a couple things that the Daughters of the American Revolutionary War chapter are trying to work on to appease the residents as far as those trees go. So, I mean, we're working on that. I know you guys have fielded concerns over the years about the trees along the perimeter, people's property, you know. And then just to continue with the upkeep of the Oddfellows Cemetery on South Chestnut Street, we're doing our best because I know Marcia Viglianco mentioned it being a stop on the historic tours, trying to tout the tourism. There's a little known fact. I mean, there's a plaque out front of the municipal building for John Snyder Carlisle, but he's also buried over at the Oddfellow Cemetery, and it's kind of a big thing, in my opinion, for tourism and things like that. And then there's just one other thing I wanted to address. I know there was a concern brought up back in February when I was having some legal issues. I just want to make sure that if there's ever anything that you guys feel may encumber what my organization does, please feel to reach out. I had tried to make accommodations to be teleconferenced in or whatever at that meeting to answer those questions that may have arose, but I do appreciate your support. And hopefully we will continue that support over the next several years. Thank you.
Gary Rollins, 87 Pinewood Drive, wishes to address council concerning downtown issues.
Good evening. Those of you that know me, which I think is the majority of you, are used to me sitting on that side of the desk. I'm not used to standing on this side of the desk. But there's some things that bother me about Clarksburg, and I'm sure they bother a lot of people. But since we have a lot of new people, let's see what we can do. And maybe there's plans in the works that I'm not aware of. And I'm just going to throw out some things. Do I look for answers tonight? No. Are you going to give me answers at the next meeting? No. But can you at least say, let's work on it? Okay. I don't have any answers. Probably if I had a gazillion dollars, I could solve all these problems. But I do want to thank you, though, for starting off with prayer and a pledge. Do you know how unusual that is today in these United States of America? And those of you that knew my father, Dick, he would give you 2 thumbs up. Enough on that. First thing, I can't remember how long it's been since I've seen the Waldorf building look like a real building. Is there anything that anybody can do to either tear it down or fix it? I mean, that's the only 2 options. Is it? I don't know. I don't even know who it belongs to now. I have no idea. And apparently they don't know because they're not doing anything to fix it up. So, okay, what are we going to do about the Waldo building? Everybody in here drives up and down Route 79. There's something common about Weston. You're on 79. There's something common about Weston, Fairmont, and Morgantown. Mr. Rollins, this is Clarksburg. What are you talking about? Wasn't at one time a proposal, an idea, a something that there was to be a new 5079 interchange? Weston got all their road work. Morgantown, all they got to do is just raise their hand and it's done. Fairmont well, we've all been in traffic there. What happened? Or did anything even start? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And this one, I don't know what the answer is. Maybe we can do what they do to some other people. They just put them on a bus and take them somewhere else. The homeless people. I don't know what we do. I don't know what we do. But don't you find it depressing in your city? I mean, coming into the meeting this evening, there's this gentleman with everything he owned, I'm sure, including his dog and his carriage of some sort. How sad. How sad. Where's he going to live tonight? Probably under a bridge somewhere because it's not real cold. What are we going to do? I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer. Last menial, not important. But I'm under the impression that parking on Main Street is supposed to be for people that have business in town, maybe put enough in for an hour or so and whatever. I drive a lot through town because I want to see what's going on. And now you have to drive through town because half of town's closed off. But anyway, and I think I know who the violators are, but that's not for me to say. But if we don't have anybody out there policing who's parked out there legally and illegally, we need to start, because it's very common in front of this building. And like I said, I think I know who the victim is, but I'm not going to say because I can't really prove it, but I think. Again, thank you. I'm finished. And good luck on your endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Rollins.
Jay Wolf and Katie Alvin wishes to address council concerning the community development plan and affordable housing project.
Good evening, City Council. Congratulations on your elections and your appointment, Madam City Manager, Mr. Mayor. Nice to see you. I'm Jay Wolf, and I am the owner of, and my wife, of Wolf Rentals. And we have about 106 apartments in Clarksburg. And we try to keep them up, and your code enforcement has done a good job working with us, and the fire department, appreciate that. And back about 2014, I was looking for another building to put my dump truck in. And I drove by the old Osborne Machinery building over in Glen Elk, and there was a for sale sign on it. And I inquired, and it was for sale, Mr. Rocky. It was for sale for $75,000, the old Osborne Machinery building. It's got a sprinkler system in it, but Valley Supply couldn't get rid of it for some reason. They tried to auction it off. So we bought it for $75,000. And then we put 4 apartments in it. And we house some lower income people. I think Mr. Coyle, Mr. Steve, Post Office Steve, he's one of our tenants there. And we've had some problems there. Cowboy lived there for a while. You might remember him. Anyway, we've had our problems. And we now have an opportunity to improve that building and put more money into it. It's through the Affordable Housing Program. Through the Federal Home Loan Bank out of Pittsburgh. And I've actually been in retirement, but my daughters are now running Wolf Rentals, and they're going to be buying it as of the first of this coming year. This is Katie, my oldest daughter, and that's Abby, my youngest there. And they've somehow conned me into maybe signing on a loan. And so anyway, she's going to ask you for permission to get maybe the approval of the city. It's not going to cost the city any money. Matter of fact, it'll probably make you some more B&O money in the long run. But I'm suspecting that we'll probably end up spending about a little bit over $1 million to renovate that building. And that end of town could use some help. So I hope you'll consider it. Listen to Katie for a moment.
And yeah, like my father said, we are applying for affordable housing funding. And so part of that funding requires that we have a signature on a form. It's just showing that we're part of a community plan. And we had reviewed the Clarksburg community plan and seen that revitalizing Glen Elk, renovating old commercial buildings to residential use was part of that plan. So we're just asking for your support by signing the form saying that we would align with the city's goals. With our project. That's it.
Give us a call if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rocky Romano wishes to address council concerning the House Bill 2526.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and Council. Thank you for letting me speak tonight. Good evening, citizens. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rocky Romano, Harrison County Assessor. And I did want to speak to you about House Bill 2526 that passed back in February. This is a 4-component bill. The first component of that bill is the income tax cut, which ended up being at 21.26%. So that's off your income. If you look at your withholdings, you can see over the past months, it's less than it was last year. They've already taken care of that. Second component of that is the vehicle rebate credit. That means that nothing has changed in the way that you're assessed through the assessor's office or you pay the sheriff's tax office. What has changed is the state tax department is going to change their income tax, the way that you do that. So the income tax cut, the vehicle credit. What you do there is you pay timely, which means that you be assessed between July 1st and October 1st for individuals, July 1st and September 1st for businesses. And you pay timely. So basically what this is, the biggest thing I'm trying to reach out to most of you for and citizens, if you can spread the word. The thing is, the biggest part of this bill with the vehicle and the third component is that's for disabled veterans. If they're 90 to 100% disabled, they'll be able to get their real estate refunded or rebated credit from the state tax department. And also there is a small business in there, business $1 million or less. You're going to get the vehicle through that, but you can also get your machinery, equipment, computers, whatever might be the case. Your other personal property, get 50% of that back from the state. We're going to pay the county just like you do. We do our budget with that. The state is in turn going to give you your money back. How long that can last, I'm really not debating that. The biggest thing I'm asking all of you for is to try to help me to explain to people, especially senior citizens. A lot of people get their tax ticket in July. They want to immediately pay full. Well, for 2023, you do not want to pay full. You want to pay the first half in 23, which is timely. You pay that by October 1st. Pay the second half between January 1st and March 31st of 24, because that second half, you can get a credit for that, because this is all based on our 2024 income tax. So anything that you pay in 2023 will not be credited. The first part of the 2023 is not included because the bill was passed prior to that getting started. So the second half will be able to be credited if you pay that in 2024. And the same thing with the veterans. They've got to pay that. Again, pay the second half in 24. And on your business stuff, pay the second half in 24. And the biggest thing there is people just want to get their tax ticket. We're a creature of habit. We go, we pay it, we're done. But in future years, you can go back to doing that. But for 23, pay the first half in 23, second half in 24. In council and all of you here, if you can all spread the word, it's going to be a lot better, because we know in the assessor's office who's going to get the first call when they find out they didn't get a credit. So help us out, please. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Romano.
Andrea Meyerberg, 521 South 5th Street, wishes to address council concerning an issue of a sign at the corner of 15th and Wilson.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank the city because you gave us a bunch of compost to start a little garden, and I'm up in Colonial Heights, up behind the courthouse here, and our little neighborhood is looking quite nice. Some years ago, a gentleman by the name of Mark Freeman, who was a retired fireman, requested a sign to go by our garden. I was not aware of that until it was installed. And I have a beautiful bush. We are popular in our little area. Then we have a lot of little lamb's ears that kids like to touch, and the kids all play around there. And I think somebody here was even thinking of making a little playground for kids there, because a lot of kids are playing in the street. That's an issue. I'm not here about that issue, actually. I probably it would be better if I was, but I'm not. It's that corner is a sort of a little center of our little section of the city. Now, the garden has also a beautiful big coppery maroon bush that's called a smoke bush, and it has, when it gets mature, it has these little puffs of pink smoke that grow on it. And it's nice, but the city has cut it down at times because it obscures the sign. And I would like to keep the bush, and I don't think it's a matter of bush or sign. I think it's a matter of where we could just move the sign even across the street so that we could keep that going. If you want to just take a trip up there, you could see it. There are times of the season where it looks better than others, but it is sort of a little part of our, making our community look good. So I was hoping that, first of all, that nobody would come by in the next couple weeks and chop it down again, and that you would consider moving that sign so that we could keep our bush.
I'll have the city manager look into that for you.
Okay.
City managers report and update.
So for city parks, John Cooper has retired from his position as superintendent of parks. Oh, and council, I'm going to shorten these a bit because they're quite long, so I don't leave you guys 6 pages of notes. We have a new superintendent, Doug Comer, starting in July, which is great. The splash zone is in full operation and it's being used, and a canopy has been ordered for the water slide. The Veterans Park electrical update. The installation of panel boxes is complete. The pickleball grant. So we received the contract documents from the government's office and have them signed and returned. The amphitheater, the 38th special concert was held June 9th with a large attendance. There was a Music in the Park free concert. A free movie in the park was Bridesmaids, and Tracy Lawrence will perform on Friday, July 7th, and Crowder tickets remain on sale. The Frank Loria Field, all games and practices are on schedule. Code enforcement. Code enforcement issued 54 building permits for a total job cost of almost $3 million, and there's a number of other things that they're doing within that department. Final inspection for the work performed at the Chick-fil-A remodel was completed. Economic development. So our staff participated in the most recent Parking Authority meeting, and they will be requesting a draft of qualifications for an engineering firm to complete a structural assessment. Staff will be conducting field work in the Central Business District, and they'll focus on a number of different areas within that. And First Friday in July happens this Friday. Please be sure to come out and enjoy the food and music and events. The finance department. So listed below are all the collections for the month of June 2023. Business licenses expired on June 30th. If you have not yet renewed your business license for next year, please contact Cherish at 304-624-1630. The fire department responded to 328 calls in June. 3 firefighters attended the first ever Lines Over Ladders training event. It was an intense simulation of deploying hose lines up and over ground ladders and area ladders. They will return to the shift and train others as well. The police department responded to just over 2,100 calls for service. During the month, Clarksburg police assisted numerous law enforcement agencies in the disruption of an outlaw motorcycle group. K9 ASTA assisted with the arrest where one pound of drugs were discovered and seized. The detective division is working with multiple other agencies and have made arrests. And the preliminary testing for new policeman hires has been completed. There's actually 7 instead of 6. Public Works Department, so they've been working hard. They've been replacing sanitary sewer main lines and lateral lines. They've replaced storm sewer droplet inlets. They've cleaned manholes. They've repaired sewer lines and raised manholes. Maintenance to the lift stations. They checked trunk lines along West Fork at Park. They've responded to 8 sewer calls, and they've done 11 camera and line locations. They assisted with the water bore leak. They have performed camera inspections of sanitary and storm sewers. They did weed killing within the city. They've patched streets throughout different neighborhoods. They've picked up 23,500 pounds of yard waste and processed 72,000 pounds of yard waste at the compost center. They've repaired 5 traffic light issues, renewed yellow lines in neighborhood areas, removed and returned senior banners. They've installed historical markers, and prepped for multiple civic events. They've removed graffiti at the Hughes Avenue parking building and answered 6 after-hours pages. The Robinson Grounds, so this is their schedule. We had the swearing in of the new council on July 1st. There's the Wheeling Symphony Rain backup on the 3rd. There's a wedding on the 15th. A birthday party scheduled for the 22nd. On the 24th is the West Virginia Community Development Hub meeting. On the 26th is the holiday movie Inside Out. There's a Steve Vai concert on the 28th, school reunion on the 29th, and then the first week of August, they have the Children's Theater Camp and performances. The wastewater treatment plant, so the second phase of the thickener upgrade is scheduled to begin July 24th and takes almost a month to complete. And the new motor has arrived for the third blower. We are working on getting it installed. The raw pump number 1 repair update, we're still waiting on parts. And please do not put baby wipes and flushable wipes down the drains. They do not dissolve and are not flushable.
No unfinished business, new business. This is an amendment to the Planning and Zoning Code. Consideration of first reading of an ordinance to amend the Planning and Zoning Code sections 1305.01, 1327.01, 1327.02, and 1327.08 to define and include zoning district requirements for brewery, brew pub, distillery, mini distillery, micro distillery, off-premises consumption, alcoholic beverage sales, land uses, private club, tavern, and winery land uses.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
This is to create the Land Reuse Agency. Consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the City of Clarksburg to add Article 179 to create a Land Reuse Agency.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion?
Yeah, I just wanted to briefly just talk about this Land Reuse Agency ordinance. I know it's only the first reading. We still have one more reading to go. It passes this evening. This is going to be a big game changer for Clarksburg. What it allows the city to do, it gives them a tool to be able to purchase properties first at tax sale within the city of Clarksburg. Through that, we're able to hold on to that land and also gives our staff and our city an opportunity to work with developers and other folks who are responsible that want to purchase that land to have productive use. There's probably about a handful of municipalities across the state that are doing this. The city of Huntington has done this, and it has, gave them the opportunity to really, do some revitalization. Currently, right now, when it comes to blight and trying to acquire properties, a lot of times they get condemned, and the only thing that we can do is stick a lien on them for fire service fees and other things. And then when it goes to sale, it's hard to sell a piece of property that has liens and stuff on it. This will give our city an opportunity, to be able to purchase and sell properties. But the main thing is, by state code, we'll be able to purchase these properties first at tax sale. That is a really good thing, because a lot of times you have out-of-state investors that come in, they're land speculators, and they will buy land and buy places, and they will just let them sit. And then it becomes a problem with the city. We have to pay a lot of money to maintain them, and it's really difficult to try to contact those landowners to redo their properties. So I urge passage of this first reading, and I hope that everybody will support it. Thanks.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
FOIA request, consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the City of Clarksburg to create Article 117.03 to set forth procedures for the submission of Freedom of Information Act FOIA request and repeal Section 777.06.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Solid waste containers, consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the city of Clarksburg modifying sections 958.02 and 958.03 of the codified ordinances regarding solid waste containers.
Have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Dogs, consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the city of Clarksburg to create section 507.17 of the codified ordinances to prohibit the keeping of noisy dogs.
So moved.
Second.
Can we have discussion on this?
Yes.
I just had a question, actually. Is it standard to have like a time limit of how long a dog can bark? I didn't notice that in the ordinance.
So I will actually defer to Mr. Weber there to answer that question, or Richard.
So some ordinances have time limits, some don't. When I was looking at researching a little bit, I did see that Elkins recently, last fall, and one reason I looked at Elkins is because I used to work with their city attorney, Spector. They were having issues. Their ordinance had a time limit in it, and they didn't like it and didn't think it was working well. So they redid theirs to remove that time limit. So it seems to be that, and I looked at some other places, the trend is to remove that time limit. But you're absolutely right that many of them do have that, but the trend right now is to remove that. That's why we didn't include it, it's just a reasonable time.
One question I had, who will be mostly in charge of enforcement or responding? Would it be our animal control? Will it be the police department, code enforcement? Who will be the first to respond?
All three have the authority to do it, and I think that in terms of who's going to be first enforcement, they'll figure that out amongst themselves. I assume during daytime hours, and probably folks that can control, but obviously police after hours, but probably won't end up having a situation. But all three are specifically given the power to issue citations.
My biggest concern is enforcement when it comes to things like this. It's difficult. So that's just what I was asking.
The ordinance also mentioned a tax on people. What about like a tax on other animals or other dogs?
I think that's the second one.
Is that the second ordinance of the dangerous? Okay.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of first reading of an ordinance of the city of Clarksburg to amend section 507.18 of the codified ordinances to prohibit the keeping of dangerous dogs.
So moved.
Second.
We have a,
Discussion on that.
Okay.
What is defined as dangerous dogs?
We'll again defer to either the attorney or Mr. Weber.
It's not defined. What we're doing, we already have a dangerous dog ordinance in the code. So if we do nothing, we already have one in the code section as it stands. The inherent problem is we haven't had to deal with this in quite some time, and I guess recently we've had that request. And when we started looking at it, because the city manager thought it'd be better to have a commission to make this decision, because right now the process is the city manager on her own makes the decision if the dog is dangerous or not. And it has a progression for you to keep the dog under a muzzle, and then the dog can ultimately be ordered to be euthanized. The problem is when we looked at that, is under West Virginia Supreme Court case law, the city itself has no authority to declare a dog a dangerous dog and require it to be euthanized. That can only go through magistrate or circuit court. The other problem is that under West Virginia code, it's a misdemeanor already to keep a dangerous dog. So if we set up this dangerous dog system where you can keep one under muzzle, we're actually approving people violating state criminal law in that matter. So what this one's going to do is basically move everything over to magistrate court where it probably belongs and operate under state code for what a dangerous dog is. So what will occur in that situation is if the animal control officer finds that there's probable cause, then the animal control officer working with the police department will file a criminal complaint against the owner. And at that point in time, the process will move over to magistrate court, where it'll have all the usual protections that someone would have in any sort of criminal matter over there. So that decision ultimately is up to the magistrate based upon how the Supreme Court has kind of looked at what a dangerous dog is.
So in other words, if someone calls and, it may be like a big pit bull, maybe it's a little bit of aggressive, it shows some aggression, and the city manager deems it as possibly a dangerous dog, then the animal control will go out, and if they deem that there's any kind of violation, they will refer that on to magistrate court, and they will be the final determination on whether or not that dog was deemed dangerous, and they're going to prosecute.
Basically,
All of that except for, I don't think it comes to my office. So if
Oh,
the
okay.
animal control or police go out and see there could be a problem, then it's sent through this process. What we didn't want to do is be in contravention of any laws.
Okay. Yeah, the reason why I said, you determine it's dangerous dog, because that's what I thought I heard from the city attorney, is that.
well, under the current situation, the city manager does make that determination.
Oh, okay, so we're just changing that.
We're changing that because I think under, the way it's stated under Supreme Court law, it says you can only operate under the West Virginia State Code for this, which only magistrate or circuit court can make a determination that it ought to be euthanized. Logically, the city manager can make a determination that the dog is dangerous, and we would require it to be a muzzle, but I'm saying that you can't even have a dangerous dog under state code, so I'm not sure if we want to put ourselves in a situation where the city says this dog is dangerous, you keep it, and now we've created that person's technically, arguably a violation of state code to keep it. So all we're doing is moving this along. Basically, we're not changing what state law is. State law says you can't keep a dangerous dog. That's what it says. It's very clear about that. And so all we're doing is providing a mechanism for our people to enforce that underlying law.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, so am I correct in understanding then that this dangerous dog, it pertains to the behavior of the dog and not the breed of the dog?
It has nothing to do with the breed of dogs.
Okay.
That's not one single time, it has to be multiple occasions that magistrates.
Now, is there a timeline that it has to fall within?
No, I don't think so.
There's no clear time. One attack could be grounds for bringing dangerous dog action. There's nothing in the Supreme Court precedent under the Dangerous Dog Act that says that one time is okay. It's all, and that's why animal control and code did have concerns about this, and they didn't want it to be the one strike situation. But that's not what's stated under state code. So what we do is we went back and brought in some more information to get some more judgment call as to is there probable cause for that, such as, what's the location of the dog? Was there somebody in the dog's yard? What kind of severity? That kind of thing. And that's where you're looking at it. And then you can go on, and again, this is ultimately a magistrate court decision or circuit court decision.
That case we looked at is pretty much what you're seeing in that language out of Bluefield, that Supreme Court case. That we're kind of following.
If this were to pass, I hope that we could put something together as a staff that will clearly define the steps necessary to be taken for citizens to understand this, whether it's a graphic design or whatever it is, to clearly define it. Because there's multiple steps, there's gonna be a lot of stipulations. So if we can break it down and make it easy to understand, if it passes, I hope we can do that.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of a resolution of the city of Clarksburg, West Virginia to enter into engagement letters with Steptoe and Johnson PLLC to serve as issuers bond counsel.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of a resolution to approve revision to the coal severance budget for fiscal year 2023-2024, being budget revision number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of a resolution of the city of Clarksburg, West Virginia to set forth and adopt policy for letter of support requests.
So moved.
Second.
A discussion. I've read it over. I've read over the resolution. I think this will be helpful, and I think it's passage. So, thank you for drafting it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of a resolution to appoint members to Board of Clarksburg Land Reuse Agency upon creation.
Mr. Mayor, I move we appoint members Ms. Marcia Hunt and James Swagger to the Clarksburg Land Reuse Agency upon creation.
Like to make a amendment to that. Instead of Marcia Hunt, it's Mary Hunt. That was a typo.
It was correct.
It was correct?
Yeah.
Okay, then I rescind my motion.
Who made the second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Consideration of request for letter of support for Wolf Rentals.
Mr. Mayor, I move we direct our city manager to write a letter of support for Wolf Reynolds and the Osborne Machinery Shop.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Beautification Committee.
I'd like to make a motion to dissolve the beautification committee.
I'll second.
Discussion. I think we, this is just my input, but I think we should maybe talk about this. More discussion. I know we didn't really, I know it got brought up today in our work session, but there was really a decision on exactly what to do. Obviously, we can't move in that discussion. So I'm curious if maybe we should hold off on this and move it to the table.
Have a second on Councilman Hyman's motion?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
Will Hyman.
Aye.
Mark Jackson.
Aye.
Wayne Worth.
No.
Patty Wright.
No.
Vice Mayor Ripple.
No.
Mayor Maplejack.
No.
Back to the original motion.
So now we have a motion and a second for the dissolve of the beautification committee. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
All opposed?
No.
No.
Will Hyman.
No.
No.
Mark Jackson. Wayne Worth.
Yes.
Patty Wright.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Ripple.
Yes.
And Mayor Maplejack.
Yes.
Motion carries. Consideration of appointments to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Mr. Mayor, I move we appoint former council member Gary Keith to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Do we want to bring him back?
His application is fine. You said I am the Gary Keith.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Council comments?
Would you like to start with me or Mr.
Oh,
Ward?
I love that. I'm just used to that seat saying first. So Councilman Hyman, if you would, please.
Sure. First, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Cooper on his 42 years of service with the city and the Parks and Rec Board. The Parks and Rec Department, rather. I'm sure Mr. Comer will fill his shoes and continue to make Parks and Rec a great thing for the city of Clarksburg. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out and speaking. I know you guys came to us with lots of concerns. As far as I know, the divergent diamond that's planned for the I-79 interchange was part of the Roads to Prosperity project. If I remember correctly, that was 2017 that it passed with, I think, under 17% voter turnout. So I don't think it's been forgotten about, but maybe we can direct our city manager and our city council to ask Mr. Justice if he can deliver on his Roads to Prosperity. So thanks for coming out and reminding us of that. I'm not quite sure if we're ready for a diversion diamond at the I-79 interchange, but whether we are or not, like I said, I saw it on his big board down there at the governor's office. So I don't think it's been forgotten about, but it's going to be a big project when it does happen. So other than that, we got First Friday tomorrow. Should be a great time. And I guess we'll do it again here in a few weeks. Thanks.
Councilman Jackson?
I would like to thank all of the citizens for coming out this evening. Thank you for your input to the things that need to be addressed here in our city. And, you have my pledge that we will work diligently to address these things. Congratulations to Mr. Cooper on his retirement. He's been around for years. I remember John from when I was just a pup out there. But, so I would just like to say, thank you very much. This is a very new experience for me. And, I hope that I can fill the shoes of, for the people of the city of Clarksburg to help move our city forward. Thank you.
Councilman Ward?
Yeah, I first want to congratulate Mr. Cooper on 42 years of service. I mean, that's just simply amazing. That's almost a half a century. And I think we have probably one of the best park systems in the state of West Virginia because of that man. So definitely kudos to him. And I'd like to congratulate Mr. Comer too on his appointment as the new park superintendent. Also, I really want to give a big shout out to the police department, for all their work. I mean, 2,100 calls, over 2,100 calls in the month of June. And I noticed even, during the first part of July, it's, July 4th and a lot of stuff that's been happening. Just amazing. And also the detective work and also seizing, 1 pound of methamphetamine, off the streets. I tell you, when we got the canines back, that was a huge game changer to public safety. Because of the K9 program, 1 pound of methamphetamine is now off the street. So definitely kudos to the police department. Also to Public Works. I mean, I'm looking at this whole list is almost a page long of things that they have done over the last month. And with the West Pike Street, water line situation, they're out there assisting with that too. And so that's, these guys, they work long hours and sometimes overtime too. The Robinson Grand, kind of speaks for itself. I mean, that's just such a, that's like the jewel of Clarksburg. I mean, that is, that's a quality of life venue that we have that our citizens are going to enjoy for a very long time. And I appreciate all the staff there too. In regards to the land bank, I want to thank everybody on council for supporting the first reading of that. That was something a couple years ago I was pretty passionate about, and seeing how successful it was in the city of Huntington. We even brought someone to a work session. This is during COVID when you could only do it through through Zoom. And man, what a tool that's going to be for our for our city, especially our city staff to really attract development and attract developers here. And also folks that are interested in the properties beside them that the city has purchased first at tax sale. If they want to rehab some of those properties, it's just an amazing program. I encourage everybody to do some research on it. I think we'll wake up 10 years from now and we'll see a different Clarksburg because of it. And that's just my belief. And I've been to every county in the state of West Virginia, and I've seen how our towns struggle and stuff. And this is one tool that's going to, not be the silver bullet, but really help us, revitalize and redevelop our town. So, other than that, it's good to see our new board members. This is, I know Hattie, she was a little bit nervous when I told her. I said, as long as you go through the city manager, through everything, you can't go wrong. But but anyway, it's good to see you all here. We've got a great council, and I appreciate everybody coming out and turning out here tonight. It's just good to see people actively engaged in in the government process. So thanks a lot. And see something, say something.
Hey, I didn't do it.
Miss Rose.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone for being here tonight. For those who got up and spoke, that's really exciting. What's happening in Glen Elk with Wolf Reynolds. I think that'll be a big asset to that area. I also want to commend the fire, police, and the public works. Going through that city manager's report was pretty impressive. And really all of our city employees. And I know that they had a luncheon today to celebrate the city employees, and I've heard that that went really well. So it's nice to kind of give back to them a little. I also found, as far as the agenda, I found the land reuse ordinance the most interesting to me. And I agree with Councilman Worth that could make a huge difference here. And I know that slum and blight is an issue that a lot of citizens have and have expressed their concerns with. Lastly, I just want to say thank you again. And I'm really excited to learn and to get involved more. And I know I have a lot to learn, but I'm excited for the task. And I know that there's a great group of people up here. So I'm excited to collaborate with them. So thank you and have a good weekend.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
I want to thank everybody for coming out. It's a good crowd tonight. Thank you for sharing your issues that you have, and I'm confident that we will address those. Our new city manager, I have been very impressed how she approaches things, go after things, and so I see us moving forward in a very efficient way. I like some of the changes that she has made, and so it's I'm feeling confident moving forward. To the Wolf family, Glen Elk is my home. It's where I was born, so take care of it, and as I'm sure you will. And so I'm excited to see more positive things, and I'm glad that we were able to support your letter. Mr. Romano, thank you for coming and explaining to the citizens and giving us information to pass along to the citizens. I believe this is how government channels should work. You relay information to us. It's up to us to give it to our citizens. All of those things are very important. A lot of times when House bills or Senate bills make it to the public, it's all a lot of discussion, and then it goes away, and then it's forgotten about. So it's up to us to continue that conversation to just give our citizens the knowledge they need. Mr. Cooper, I want to thank him for his 42 years of service. I was 6 years away from being even born when he started. So that puts a lot of perspective on it. He's a family friend. I'm very excited about the things that he has created at the parks. And he's set the bar pretty high for Mr. Comer. And so I look forward to things continuing and wish him a happy and healthy retirement. First Fridays is coming up. Very excited. July's got a lot of things. We have a bicycle parade. It was a great success last year. A lot of kids came out. Mr. Whitmore, I believe you'll be there on your bike, correct? Mr. Marsh, you bringing your bike?
I'm going to Spruce Knoll for the weekend.
You taking your bike with you though?
I'll be riding up the side.
All right, you're going to be on a bike somewhere. But it's I like the bicycle parade. Been a lot of discussion about bike trails here recently, and I hope we can able to get that grant and continue more of that type of movement. And the bicycle parade has a lot of kids out there, so good event. And then the hot dog eating contest, I'm really excited about that. I think last year's winner had 14 hot dogs. Second place was 13. He did have 14. And then the 14th one came back up. So he came in second with 13. So it's a great, it's also Ritzy Lunch's 90th anniversary. The owner of Stonewall is here, and I mean, so he understands business, and to be open 90 years is impressive. It takes a strong family, and it takes dedication and just dedication to the community that you're serving, and you got to do it for more than just the money. You got to do it because you serve the community. And when I first reached out to them about the hot dog eating contest last year, Antonio, the owner, he was thrilled to be a part of this. He was excited to not just put on this event and recognize his business, but also give back to the first responders. And I don't know if eating 14 hot dogs is really giving back to the first responders, but it's a good way for us to give them something fun. And I know all first responders will be there. It's a little bit of a discussion, trash talking back and forth, the police department. And so just today, we've got a few police department, of our Clarksburg Police Department to sign up. So that's good, because if not, we were going to call them out for not signing up. But I'm looking forward to that. Please, everybody come downtown, visit our stores, spend money, and just come check everything out. We had a great employee barbecue today. I'm looking forward to having more of those. Our city manager's report, all the stuff they do in just over a few weeks' time or over a month's time, the least we can do is give them a free lunch and come together and just talk and just take a little bit of time off. It's easy. It's a small way to give them back, and so we want to thank them. And Land Bank, I want to personally, hopefully it passes, but this has been Wayne's. I don't know how he has the patience, but this has been Wayne's thing since the start. I mean, first got on council, we talked about it. Government moves slow, whatever. I don't ever believe that, but I'm glad it's finally on there, so hopefully it passes. And, if you see something, say something. Hattie was supposed to do it too.
Sorry.
She did not do it.
Down.
Welcome, new council members. Hattie is now the youngest council member in the history. I had that record for 2 years, so now all the pressure's on her. So now I'm the elder statesman. So, and everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you. My turn. This doesn't pertain to anybody this evening, but I will be making this comment as well as see something, say something, pick up the phone and dial 911. Believe me, it helps. During council comments, I'm asking the public to please refrain from commenting when the councilman's making their comments. If you want to speak to a specific council member, then do it after the meeting. I want to commend, I don't know who the contractor is doing the ADA sidewalks, but they're coming up Pike Street. I mean, full bore. These guys are quick and are doing a nice job. Water Board, 4th of July, I got notified that there was a water main break in front of the Board of Education, and I want to commend those guys because it was a holiday and they had to come out and they did a great job, and Main Street's back open again. I want to hand out the mayor's appointments. Should change some of these while I have the points. Don't laugh, Will.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Congratulations, John Cooper, on 42 years. That is absolutely just amazing there. And, John's health hasn't been the best here the last couple of months, but we're all praying for a speedy recovery for him. Congratulations to Doug Comer for being assigned the new park superintendent. I'm sure he'll do a wonderful job. He's very conscientious of what he does. And I got to say that I'm excited about this council. Hattie's resume is spot on. Mark, I've known Mark for a long time, and he's going to be the new Jerry. He wants to get everything done yesterday. And Martin Howe, I think Martin's out of town, but I think Martin's going to be a huge asset to Miss Fell. He was city manager for 14 years, and I always said that when Martin was let go, that he had irons in the fire that we never knew about. But I think those irons are going to be back in the coals. So I'm looking forward. Want to welcome Miss Fell. She's doing a great job. I got to tell a story on her. The other day I went by, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I stopped in to get my mail and went in her office, and we spoke for half hour, 45 minutes. And so then I went out, and 7 o'clock at night, I'm coming back down Main Street, and I look, her car's still here. on holiday weekend, and I told her to go home, and she didn't. And then she was in here 4th of July, so we're real excited about her. First Fridays, folks, if you've not been, it's worth the time. Come uptown for a little while and just watch how people are coming back out. And we are definitely going to be moving Clarksburg forward. I promise you that. I mean, with this council and everybody, I can't tell you how excited I am for everybody up here. And everybody have a nice weekend. Thanks for coming.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. I'm not voting, man. Motion and second. All in favor?